That is just the worst design I've ever seen. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video. Mike's over here. We're in the shop. Sadly, Cassie is enjoying spring break with the kids down in sunny South Padre Island. I'm a little jealous, but we're in the shop. We're gonna get a lot of stuff done today and over the next few days. We're just gonna hop right to it. So this is a kind of small shop. It's a 30 by 40, 1,200 square feet. Really, I mean, compared to what I've had in the past, it is amazing. But in order to maximize the room in this shop, the plan is to build a loft in this corner. The setup for the shop, we have the lift. Cassie and I built a workbench over here in the corner. This is gonna be our primary work zone. We're gonna have another bench here, and then welding and whatnot's gonna be over in this section. Over in this corner, we didn't really have any plans for it. So this is gonna be the chill corner. So we're gonna have a loft so the kids can go up there and play, have a little couch in the corner, and then have storage up over here. So first things first, we have to build the loft. It's just like that rear winch. It's simple. You just build a loft. How hard can it be? Just like every other project. Do we have the supplies needed to start this? Probably not. Do we know exactly what we're doing?
Of course.
We have the baseline. Let's do it. We use the post and the 2x10s to square everything up and mark our base plate. So we just drilled a 5/8 hole in the concrete and we have this anchor bolt. That plate is gonna anchor our post and this is gonna tighten down and expand in the concrete. Yep. I've pretty much come to a complete halt on the loft build. All the 2x10s are in place. This thing is secure. I did some swinging under here to make sure it was all good, and I went ahead and put some old 2x4s up there as some temporary flooring so I could crawl up there and make sure everything is secure. And let me tell you, this thing is not going anywhere. We're still gonna tie it in. I'm gonna do some triangulated brackets on each corner. For now, I'm gonna have to figure out what kind of floor we wanna do. The 2x4s, while they're nice and sturdy, that's definitely not a good floor for the kids to play on up there. As well as the ladder going up. We're either gonna do a side ladder here, of course, out of wood, or we can put the ladder up against that wall, kind of recess it, and then have a cutout on the floor so you walk up and over. But it is time to go ahead and head over to Mike's. We're gonna change out all of the beadlock bolts on mine because they are looking really, really rough. Sadly, living down in South Texas, it's bad on these bolts. So hopefully none of these break on the way out, but I mean, you can clearly tell they're heavily corroded. So got a bag of grade 8 hardware over there. We're gonna swap these out and keep on going. We went ahead and got all 4 wheels swapped with new grade 8 hardware, new beadlock bolts. So Mike helped out, thanks Mike. But the big thing is, whenever your beadlocks start rusting, or if you just had them for a few years, you definitely want to change out that hardware because that's what holds your bead together when you're going down the road. Luckily, we have a store here in town, Barton Bolt.
Yep. Great
Place. They do have an online store, grade 8 hardware, all kinds of fasteners. Go check them out. Their prices are unbelievable. They beat everything else. Fastenal, your Home Depot prices are insane there. Very low. Tractor Supply, yeah, it beats them all. So we swapped all of those over. I think it cost what, 40 bucks for the bolts and washer with 60, I don't know. Online it was looking like it was gonna be 200. So that is done. So Mike spent the past, what, 3 weeks working on this. So it turned out really, really good. You had a custom fuel cell mount made. Yep. We used a Barnes 4-wheel drive
30-inch.
The 30-inch winch mount, and everything else kind of fabbed together. And it turned out really, really good. It's welded over here to the frame right here, multiple spots all over. And we cut the body out. It turned really good. It turned out really good.
Yep. Once we figured out our plate setup for how much the depth of under the tailgate, I didn't want it through the bumper because everybody always goes through the bumper. Welded the 30-inch to the gas tank mount, and it was all 1/4-inch steel. It is real tight. down in here, we are gonna have to massage the brackets to hold the gas tank down.
The good thing here, you open the tailgate, you have room to change your winch cable if needed, unspool it if it's like kinked up. When it's up inside the bumper way in there, super hard to get to. Now you have a winch and an air compressor. And this is the ranch's off-road recovery rig. So of course, having a winch on the front and rear is a no-brainer for a recovery rig that is gonna be pulling people out of, you know, who knows what. So there's still more work to be done. You gotta brace the corners and you know, either make a body mount here or tie the cage into the body a little bit and then into the frame. Got some work to figure out, but it is coming along good.
Yep.
So I'm actually up here on the loft now, and if you're standing on the corner, there is plenty of room, but back up in there, that is definitely kid zone for sure. So I went ahead and got the floor in. I used 2 sheets of 3/4 inch sanded plywood, and it was the perfect amount. So a 4x8 here, and then a sliver there, and the other sliver fit right in there. And the next step, as you can tell, is carpet. So this has like a red tint to it. The lighting up here is horrible. I figured it would kind of look good, but plus this is extremely cheap. I really lucked out on this. So this was from Ollie's. I think it was 65 bucks, and I would love to say that I planned this out, but I didn't. The width is perfect. So this is like a 12x8. So all I have to do is unroll it, make one cut, staple it up here. Of course, add some safety handrails right here. But this thing is sturdy. It's not going anywhere. But we're gonna finish this up tonight, which means the loft project is done, and we gotta bring the JK in here, put her up on the lift, and make some changes on that thing. But let's get this stapled down first. So we got the whole crew in here. We got Cassie, we got Mike, we got the LJ, we got the JK. We're missing a CJ. Mike, where's yours?
Running.
Running?
Running and driving.
You're talking crap about the JK right now?
And
it runs. All right.
Put it on the trailer, take it to the trail.
Boom. So today's project is to swap over to the Rock Crawler 3.5 diesel spec springs. So let me put these down. These are quite heavy. But these are the diesel spec springs for the JL JT 3.5 inch with the Eco Diesel engine. So what this is doing is giving us a better spring rate. Now, why do I need that? Mostly it's because of the 392 Hemi. So what I noticed is we didn't lose too much ride height. However, the Hemi being heavier, the spring rate on the springs, the front end it just felt way too soft, uncontrolled, not really stable. So by going to a stiffer spring rate, it's gonna be perfect on this Jeep. Now there's a bunch of differences between linear spring rate, dual rate, triple rate, coilovers, and there's just a ton of different spring options. So sometimes it can seem hard or a little bit confusing to figure out what springs you want for your Jeep. So I did a real quick whiteboard demonstration over here. We're gonna start off with a linear spring. A linear spring, for example, might have a 100-pound spring rate. So all the way through, if you put 100 pounds per inch on here, it's gonna compress 1 inch. So if we put 300 pounds on this spring, it's gonna compress 3 inch. So that's your linear rate spring. That's what comes from the factory. Very, very basic design. We're gonna step up to a dual rate. So a dual rate has a different spring rate on top, and then the coils open up to a different spring rate. So for this example, the top, 50 foot-pounds. So most of the time that's gonna be fully compressed. Unless we're flexed all the way out, this is gonna expand in our coil bucket. It's not really gonna do much because this is mostly for bucket, just staying in there. Then we move over to the 100 foot-pound spring rate, which is very similar to that, but this we added a little bucket on top. Now we're gonna move over to a triple rate spring, and as you can tell, just like it sounds like, there are 3 different rates. So in this example, we did a 50-pound, 100-pound, and 120. So a benefit of a triple rate over something like this is that not only do we have the 50 and 100 for the smaller, squishier bumps, but we add a 120 in here for some of those bigger bumps that can really absorb it without bottoming all the way out. So linear, dual rate, and triple rate are your basic design for springs. Triple rate's gonna be Rock Crawler, and it seems like a lot of other companies are following suit with the triple rate spring. So of course, we have an example of a dual rate coilover right here and a triple rate coilover. So as you can tell, it's very similar to these springs, but the coilovers, you can really dial it in to exactly what you want. Now in the future, the JK is gonna get coilovers, but I really wanna make sure that we do it the right way, and I really wanna have enough time to explain it to you guys. But with that being said, we are switching over to 3.5 inch Rock Crawler springs. We're gonna see what it looks like. It should feel better. Hopefully it doesn't give us too much lift, but with the engine, I think it's gonna be perfect. That was a lot of talking.
That's a lot of talking, a lot of good info.
So I just talked to Rock Crawler. The diesel springs, the primary spring rate is 175 compared to the JK front springs, which are 155. So we got an extra 20 pounds per inch up here, which I think should do it. I don't think it's gonna give us any extra ride height though. I think we're gonna be in the same ride height, but with a better spring rate suited for the Hemi. Pull it out of the garage and see what it looks like. Door was open.
Oh God,
Oh, oh man. Oh, all of those times back in Virginia when I got yelled at for driving through the ditch of doom, and she leaves marks in our nice field that has some, oh my, I was just showing them our nice crop that we're growing.
what do you think it is?
I have no idea. So there's corn or something up here, but it doesn't look like last season had much. So I have no idea what it is. That's honestly the perfect stance right there. It still has a tiny amount of rake, but it's not obsessive. So the stance is good, the ride height, but we're gonna have to take this thing wheeling to actually get a feel for the spring rates. I've been running the old JK rock crawler springs for a couple years now, and I really did like the way they rode, but with the Hemi, it was just a little too soft from the extra weight. Let's head back in the shop, where it's a little less windy. It is time to get the Bronco in here because it's time for its first oil change. So Cassie just took it down to Texas for spring break for the kids, and it started yelling at you, doing oil change.
We reached 10,000 miles on this thing.
10,000. I think that's kind of crazy for the very first oil change on a brand new engine. Ford wants to wait 10,000 miles. So, hey, that more power to you, Ford. The 2.7 is supposed to use 7 quarts. A lot of people are saying they only get 6 out and 6 in before it's full. And that's probably because this is twin turboed, so you do have all the oil feed and oil return lines for the turbos. There's one sitting over right there. So of course, all that oil is not gonna drain down. So that's probably where that extra quart goes. Before we start the oil change, we're gonna of course pull everything out, make sure we have a very important socket, which is right here. Now it's supposed to be a 24 millimeter. Ours is somewhere in a box. So an inch and I think 1/16 is pretty dang close to pull off this plastic oil filter cap. But as for the oil, we chose the Havoline Lifelong Full Synthetic 5W30. This stuff's pretty cool. You get it at Walmart, or of course you can order it online, but it's 6 quarts in a box with a bag in there. So it uses 70% less plastic. The interesting thing about the Lifelong is that you don't have to choose between your normal synthetic fluid or your high mileage. It actually has just the right amount of seal conditioners to work both on a brand new vehicle and anything with like 200 or more thousand miles on it. So pretty sick, the good oil. We are gonna go ahead and get the Bronco oil change done. We're gonna have to raise this up, and it's gonna take us an hour. We're gonna figure this thing out. So it's not a bolt, it's a plastic contraption.
I don't know. Ford.
What you looking at, Mike? You take, yeah, so we're gonna, the plan is to rearrange that truss up. So we're gonna use steel and do a cutout inside there so we can lift it all the way up. But what I was just saying about the Ford crap up in here. So we have to drop this factory skid plate. I don't know if you'll be able to see it in there. It's actually on this side, but, nope. There we are. So that is our oil pan, plastic oil pan, which is fine because we do have the skid plates to cover it up. But this is what Ford likes to use as a drain plug. And I've never used this before, but I don't like them. Probably tells us exactly how to do it in the owner's manual.
How many men does it take to do an oil change?
No better way. You can't even get your hands up in there to get ready to get them out of the way. Oh man, here we go. Oh my, that is horrible design. That is just the worst design I've ever seen. Hey Cass, get the other one ready. Just, yep, one, we got about yep, 3.
You need to hurry.
2, 1. All right. Yep, that's definitely more than 6 quarts. Oh my God.
All right.
Yep.
Perfect.
Great.
Edit all of it.
This is probably why they say every 10,000 miles, because nobody wants to do it anything sooner. This sucks.
Oh, I missed the mess on the ground.
Ford Bronco did not take a page out of Jeep's playbook in regards to the oil plug.
I'll just wait
How
till
do you
it's done.
have a multi-million dollar R&D team and somehow think this is the best way to do it? Like who the head of engineering was like, you know what, Bill? This is just a great design for the Ford Bronco. All Fords. I think we should do this across the board. It makes sense.
All right, I gotta roll.
So here it is. We have to turn it out of those tabs, which, there we go, is a little hard at first, but by the time we open it up and you get your hand out of here, you're covered in oil.
And the oil, so I'm wondering, so the oil shoots that way. So when
It shoots that way.
Do you need to be standing over here with your arm over here and just
Pull it this way.
real quick?
Maybe so.
That way, because it shoots out. So if you can get your hand down, maybe that's how people do it.
Maybe. I don't know. We'll try again in 10,000 miles. Just like the JL and JT design, the oil filter cartridge is just the same, except it is a little bit longer. And we do have 2 sets of O-rings right here on the seal housing, opposed to just the single O-ring. The replacement O-rings for this filter are insanely tight to get on, especially this tip little one. I'm not sure if you have to change it each time, but I figured I will go ahead and do it. But without any type of snap ring pliers or something to expand this O-ring, it is almost impossible. Gotta be careful because I really don't want to stretch out the O-ring too much. With those 2 projects out of the way, I think it's time to close this video because we have a ton of work to do. The LJ, Cassie and I are gonna start swapping all the wiring harness, the ECM. We're gonna swap over to the Holley Terminator. It should give us a better result, but Cassie will talk about that in her video. So if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to Jeep Gear and Gadgets. That's Cassie's channel. All kinds of content on the LJ and the other vehicles. You know, the JK axle swap, the DIY long arms, the LS swap, all kinds of stuff. Cassie has content on her channel, so go check it out. The Loft turned out really good. I should have recorded the kids coming up here and playing for the first time, but I wanted it just to be them and be special without a camera in front of them. So the Loft is done. We got an old chair up here, one of their camping chairs, and a little power outlet over there. But I decided not to glue the carpet down because I have a feeling in a year or 2, I'm gonna have to pull this up and change it anyway. But the kids love it. Emma, one of my 5-year-olds, came up here and she's like, Dad, can we put a bed up here because I want to sleep up here? And of course, I'm not gonna let my 5-year-old daughter sleep in a shop with like the heat and AC is kind of iffy, but it just tells me she really likes it. She's comfortable with it, and there's plenty of room for them to play up here. So of course, we're not done. Still a lot of work to do on the Loft. We have to finish out the bottom side. The plans for this is to move the fridge forward a little bit, like pretty much even with this so we can get drinks. Put a wall on that side and a wall on this side, and behind the fridge is gonna be a bathroom and sink. That was one of Cassie's requests, but it's pretty high up on my list now too, because it's annoying going down to the house or stepping outside to use the bathroom. We also have plenty of other shop upgrades to do. Those are the Hyperlight LEDs I've been talking about for a while. As you can tell, I'm only running one in the shop, but we have a few more to install. A lot of shop upgrades coming soon, a ton of content on the Jeeps, bunch of projects. We're going wheeling to test out the JK, and hopefully we can bring the LJ with us too, because I know everybody wants to see what this thing's gonna be capable of with, you know, 37s, long arms, LS swap, and an LJ. It is gonna be sick. That's it for the video, guys. Please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and like always, thank you for watching. If you have any requests, questions, or something you want to see on the channel, make sure to go down, leave a comment, and I'll try my best to do it. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you later. You want to go up there? Is that what you're trying to... Oh, that's a good one, buddy. You're heavy. Go. Go. Oh, you fall.